Okay, hi everybody, this is a special video. This is going to be a writing masterclass, all to do with your non-chronological report for your project, your science project that I'm asking you to submit by Friday. I thought it would be nice that I could help you out with some ideas about how I've set one out. So here I'm in school, I've got Ethan behind the camera, he's recording me today. I'm just going to show you how I think perhaps you could lay it out on your double page spread ready for Friday, and some of the features and some of the ways and techniques that you could help you to write it on the way. So I've done my report about the bearded dragon, okay? How good this drawing is? Well, pretty immaculate for Mr. Flower's techniques, if you know what I mean. So you guys can choose any of your own animal that you want, and then you can do a little bit of research into it, and then you're going to write me a report similar to this. So, the bearded dragon, let me read it out to you. I've gone for an introduction to start with. I've not given that a subheading. I've gone for an introduction to start with. Have a listen. In the world of reptiles, dragons really do exist. These types of lizards often have incredible features that make them just as strange as the creatures found in fairy stories. I've then gone for 3 different subheadings. You guys can maybe go for some more because I've tried to put this on one board. Habitat, diet and behaviour of the bearded dragon. And a little did you know section down here as well. The inland bearded dragon lives in the woodlands and deserts of central Australia. Usually, it spends much of its waking hours in bushes and trees. It can also be found basking on rocks. Occasionally, when it is extremely hot, the dragon will burrow underground. Diet. Because bearded dragons are omnivores, they need a balanced diet of meat and vegetable matter. Hatchlings eat most small insects. The diet of a young dragon will consist of around about 80% insects and 20% greens, allowing them to acquire the necessary nutrients for growth. And behaviour. Known for being territorial, adult bearded dragons may display their aggression to defend their turf from other males, fight for food, or to compete for a mate. The beard, which both males and females have, is an important way the lizards communicate. When threatened, this brave reptile will open its mouth and puff out its beard to make itself appear bigger. And my did you know fact, bearded dragons go through a type of hibernation called brumation. This is where these reptiles go months without eating, but they sometimes drink water. I've got one little thing I want to do before I go through the toolkit for you. I've got one spelling mistake in there. I want to see, have a look Ethan, just make sure you've got everything in. I want to see if you guys can spot my spelling mistake. That's meant to say balance. So it's not balance, it's just balance there. There's one spelling mistake, I'll give you a clue, it's in this area here that you guys need to tell me. First person gets a house point. Right, what I want to point you towards, over here Ethan, is our toolkit, just like we do in class. So, some reminders about what I've found so far, and you guys can suggest some things to me if you think I've missed anything out. I've wrote it in third person, haven't I? Definitely, I've not used I, I've not used we, I've used the and they. I'm using that sort of third person language there. Now, generalising words are quite interesting. These are very, very, very important in non-chron reports. Let me just show you. Keep on that board there, Ethan. And let's see if I can spot some here. Generalising words refer to things that perhaps are sometimes happen, often happen, usually happen, not all the time. And we can't say it happens every time, can we? Because we don't know how unique or different each small species may be. So have a look up here. I've got these types of letters often, so I've got a nice generalising word there. I've got usually down here. Usually. I've got occasionally, and again it tells me when it happens. Sometimes down here, I can see sometimes this happens. Okay, down here I've got may. That's when it gets into the more modal verbs and things like that. Let me move on to, I'll come straight down here to modal verbs. So modal verbs you should know by now, you should know, there you go, determine the probability of something happening. So it could be, it should, it will, it can, it may happen. And I've got a few of those as well in here. Will consist, may display, okay? Similar to generalising in terms of actually the probability of something happening, but you guys can use all those different modal verbs to make sure it's not too definite. It's got to be fair and balanced, because of course we don't know if different animals may slightly vary from another. Mostly present tense, because we're talking about an animal that's not extinct, aren't we? We're talking about it still being alive, so we're still saying it is. They live in. They didn't live in Australia. They live in Australia. So mostly present tense, unless your animal is extinct, or if something has changed to their habitats and things over time. Subheadings, you can see the subheadings that we use. They're pretty self-explanatory, and a title and things like that. Introduction that we've talked about. Range of punctuation, you can see that I've used, if you look back on the video here, you can see that I've used a lot of colons and semicolons, a dash down here as well. It's usually quite formal, so therefore I think colons and semicolons would be more appropriate than a dash in this case. Pronouns is the one really I want us to look at finally. So the pronouns are where, as you can see throughout the whole time, I'm not using bearded dragons and bearded dragons consistently. I'm using things that perhaps show me the noun as a pronoun. So for example, these types of lizards. So I've not said again here, the bearded dragon. Okay, have a look down here. When threatened, this brave reptile. So instead of me saying again, when threatened, the bearded dragon, the bearded dragon, the bearded dragon, I'm trying to give myself more pronouns to enable clarity and flow and to not keep it being repetitive throughout the piece. So I've used this brave reptile. I've used these types of lizard. I've used it a few times here, but usually I've used it. So again, quite a simple pronoun, but I've used there as it goes through. When it is extremely hot, the dragon. So rather than repeating the same one in terms of you're doing a snow leopard, snow leopard, snow leopard, snow leopard, try and use a variety of different ones that you can to perhaps give this once one-of-a-kind creature and things like that. Really look to overemphasise. So anyone can draw a better dragon, let me know, because that's outstanding, Ethan. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's loving that. Fantastic. So there's my example for you guys. I'd love to see what you produce come the end of it. Over a double-page spread. One more look at the toolkit, Ethan. Have a look through there, guys. That should give you enough things. If you think more things need to be added to it, please do so. Back to me, Ethan, for the final thing. I want to say good luck, everybody. Send them through to me when you can. Any questions, do ask me. It's flowers out, and thank you for coming to the Writing Masterclass. Thank you.